When working as a team, we usually don't want different people to use different tools. Using different technologies makes it harder for us to communicate ideas, accomplish goals, and makes it harder for us to help you. We will briefly discuss the technology stack that we will be using. Generally, a technology stack is a list of all technology services used to build and run your product or application. This encompasses things like programming language, specific libraries, and other tools. The programming language that we will be using is Python. So why Python? The first reason is that it is the most popular computer language for machine learning. The more popular a language, the more likely you are to find help from others when you encounter a problem. The second reason is because Python is a high-level language. That means compared to lower-level languages like C, you spend less time coding to accomplish the same task. The third reason is that Python is a general-purpose language. Anything you can do, you can probably find a way to do it easily with Python. And the last reason why Python is so powerful is that there is a large library of modules that can be used. If you are looking to do something, there is probably already a Python module that does what you want. This makes development a lot faster. Although Python is very powerful, it is also important to be aware of its drawbacks. The first drawback is its speed performance. Because it's a high-level language that abstracts so much of how a computer works and operates, it is bound to be a lot slower than a language like C. However, we find this criticism to be quite weak because for many of the commands you will run, you are only going to run them for a few times, so the overall slowdown is quite minimal. The operations that you're going to be running millions or billions of times can be run through a heavily optimized module like NumPy that will greatly reduce the speed difference between Python and low-level languages. The second drawback with Python is that it can be very difficult to reason about speed performance. Because there is so much optimizations that going on under the hood, it can be quite difficult to understand why something is slower or faster than you expected. But for us, this usually isn't a huge concern. If you have time, please learn the basics of Python. Python is a very beginner-friendly language, and we guarantee you that there is no shortage of resources for you to learn Python. We've linked some resources on the slides, but you can also use other websites and resources that you see fit. We'll also host an Introduction to Python video session soon. There are some important machine learning modules that you should be aware of. NumPy is for numerical computations in Python. It is heavily optimized so that you see huge speed performances over raw Python. SkiPy is for helping you compute statistics and mathematical operations. Pandas is the library for working with data and finding ways to analyze it. Matplotlib is for visualizing data but making plots. Scikit-learn is the machine learning module that contains a wide array of powerful algorithms, and TensorFlow or PyTorch is specifically for deep learning. If you understand the machine learning concepts well, the libraries you use don't really matter, but these are the main libraries that most data scientists and machine learning engineers are familiar with. When working as a team, you will share code among your peers. Version control is a way to help track changes across different timelines and different team members. It's also incredibly important to use version control to reduce the amount of headaches that you will receive when working in a team. Git is the dominant version control that most software engineers use, so we will use this as well. In addition, Git has strong integrations with GitHub, a code hosting platform that we will also be using. Please learn and understand the basics of Git. It's a great tool to learn because there's a very high chance that you'll be using Git for your entire software engineering career. We've linked some introductory websites above, so please check it out. In addition, there are things that make Git even easier to use. For example, GitHub Desktop provides a user-friendly interface to navigate Git. There will also be workshops at the UChicago tech team that will introduce Git. We highly recommend attending them. And lastly, if you plan to do projects in the winter quarter, we will also place most of our code and data on Amazon Web Services, AWS for short, a cloud computing service. We're not going to go into details on this, but we will briefly justify why this is a necessary part of our tech stack. The biggest reason why we want to use the cloud is that it's very easy to store and share data and code. The second reason is that the cloud provides a shared environment for a team to run their code on. Without a cloud, each person will run their code on their own personal computer. However, this can be problematic because the code that works on one computer may not work on another computer. This increases the friction that the team have and reduces the amount of time that you spend doing meaningful work. And lastly, it makes it easier for us to help you. If you're unable to download something on your Windows computer on some obsolete operating system version, we have no idea how to help you because it's very hard to reason about what's happening on your computer, specifically that computer. But if you have the same problem on the cloud, we can provide a lot more help because the configuration of the cloud is shared among all of us. In addition, if we don't know, we can always ask people who work for AWS to help. Unless plans change, we're going to use AWS as opposed to other cloud services. The main reason why AWS is chosen is that the AWS is most commonly used cloud service by far. That means that more of your potential employers will be using AWS, so learning AWS will be the most useful for you. The second reason is that out of all the other major tech companies, Amazon provides the best customer experience and support. And for all purposes, the technology that each cloud service provides is not all that different, and the pricing of each cloud service is somewhat obscure and largely situationally dependent. As a result, pricing and technology plays no role in our decision to use AWS.